Oh, Harry really thought he was showing up for a relaxed chat about mindfulness and surf culture in America, but instead he stumbled straight into the lion's den. Wearing his best California casual, Harry sat opposite Hasan Minhaj on the podcast Hasan Minhaj Doesn't Know. It was supposed to be lighthearted, maybe a few laughs, a couple of self-congratulatory stories about his charity work. But what he got instead, a full-on roast, served medium rare. From the get-go, Hassan didn't hold back. He pulled out Harry's memoir, Spare, and, with the timing of someone who'd been waiting years for this moment, quoted the now notorious line about Harry receiving a clothing allowance from dear old dad, but only for formal wear. In other words, tuxedos, medals, royal robes. When it came to casual outfits, Prince TK Maxx was on his own. Cue Hassan's perfectly flat delivery. Bro, I'm sorry you had to go through that. The crowd erupted. Harry tried to play along, mumbling something about TK Maxx being special to him. But the damage was done. It was one of those moments where you laugh just to keep from crying, or from calling your therapist. When asked whether he planned to become a U.S. citizen, he gave a sly smile and said, "There are no plans to be at this point." Translation: Meghan hasn't decided how that polls yet. Then came the rapid-fire round, and that's when things started to go downhill. Hassan asked what seemed like a harmless question. "What do your kids think you do?" Harry's response: "They know I help other people." Ah, yes, the classic line used by anyone who doesn't have a clear job description. You could practically see the gears turning as he tried to think of a better answer. But nothing came. Just that vague, helping people statement. Even Hassan looked like he was biting back a laugh. Body language experts everywhere probably hit pause. The ear tug, the stammer, the awkward chuckle, all telltale signs of someone trying to convince both the world and himself that he still has a purpose. The idea of Harry working these days feels about as believable as Meghan cooking a Sunday roast. What does he actually do? Maybe a few Zoom calls, a paid speech or two, and the occasional "it's really about healing" talk. When Hassan asked what happens when he tells the kids, "Daddy's on a call," Harry awkwardly launched into a story about Archie and Lily barging in and waving at the screen. The audience was laughing with Hassan, not Harry. This wasn't the moment of woke prince wisdom Harry imagined. It was an expert roast wrapped up as a podcast chat. When the topic turned to how American he's become, things got even funnier. Hassan asked just that, and Harry, clearly eager to impress, turned up the accent and proudly proclaimed, "I ordered breadsticks with ranch at Applebee's. And, do you like my Cybertruck?" Someone get this man an acting coach, or at least a friend who'll tell him, maybe don't. He mentioned he surfs now, though admitted he's got chicken legs and avoids wearing shorts. And then came the cringeworthy joke about knighting Hassan. He even mimed it on camera. "If I had a sword, I'd knight you." Somewhere in Buckingham Palace, a corgi probably choked on its biscuit. Things took a slightly serious turn when they started talking about social media and kids. Harry slipped into full TED Talk mode, warning that social media is leading young boys and men down dark paths, kind of like how Netflix led Spare to the discount bin. He lamented how he and Meghan have been attacked online, which, considering the things they've said about his family, is a bit like tossing a grenade and then complaining about the explosion. But Harry wasn't done. He said that he and Meghan are now focusing on finding the root cause of pain and suffering in the world. Apparently, that root cause is the tech industry, which is ironic given Meghan's sprint back to Instagram faster than Harry can say brand deal. He also spoke about being careful when it comes to giving their kids social media access. You know, the same kids who feature in their documentaries, books, and Netflix specials. Then came what many saw as a subtle jab at the Prince and Princess of Wales. Remember how Prince William recently said, "None of our children have phones. We're very strict about that." Harry just couldn't resist. He suggested that children without phones might get bullied. Right, because nothing says modern parenting like worrying that your 6 and 4-year-olds might be cyberbullied by toddlers. Let's pause there. Harry's kids are 6 and 4. They care more about crayons than TikTok. Yet here he was, trying to sound like a tech-age philosopher while completely contradicting himself. A few weeks ago, he said social media was dangerous and parents should shield their kids from it. Now suddenly he's warning that not having access could make them outcasts. Pick a lane, Harry. It was an obvious passive-aggressive swipe at William and Catherine's more traditional, grounded parenting. The kind that involves school runs, not staged paparazzi moments. He probably thought he was scoring points for being modern, but instead he only revealed how deep his insecurities go. William and Catherine don't need to respond. They just quietly raise their kids while Harry and Meghan talk about it on podcasts. That's the difference between royals and reality stars. By the end of the episode, there was no doubt who the real star was, and it wasn't Harry. Hasan roasted him, rattled him, and peeled back the thin layer of his new persona. You can't spend years trashing your family, move to California, and then try to play the enlightened dad without people noticing the hypocrisy. At this point, every time Harry tries to sound relatable, it turns into an episode of The Office. He talks about helping people, but seems completely out of touch. He slams social media while his wife uses it to grow her brand. He warns about kids online, yet profits from showing other people's kids in his content. The contradictions never end. Meanwhile, back in the UK, the whales quietly carry on. No drama, no podcasts, no performative speeches about healing. Just work, school, and family. Every time Harry tries to rise above them, he ends up becoming the punchline. At this point, his whole public image feels like one long loop of contradictions. He left royal life for privacy, yet never stops talking about the royals. He says he wants normality for his kids, yet sells their privacy to Netflix. He warns about tech dangers, yet cashes in on online exposure. And through it all, he still seems desperate for his brother's approval. Like the guy who dropped out of school but can't stop trying to prove he's doing just fine. In the end, Hasan Minhaj didn't just make fun of Harry, he exposed the truth. Strip away the title, the PR spin, and the carefully managed image. And what's left is a man still searching for himself. Someone who thought he'd escaped the royal cage, only to build a digital one filled with podcasts, Netflix deals, and awkward interviews. So what did this little comedy of errors teach us? That Harry's still trying too hard to seem relatable, that Meghan's media machine isn't helping him, and that the entire UK is laughing. And honestly, after that performance, who can blame them?